Welcome. This is the Midnight Marshmallow Society. Thank you for joining us. Tonight's tale takes us deep into the forgotten hollows of Pennsylvania, where a quiet trail, an ancient tree, and one wrong decision open the door to something that doesn't forgive. Some trees mark time, some mark territory, and one keeps a toll.
We were just out for a hike. That's all it was supposed to be. Dunmere Hollow. Old state land, practically invisible on maps. I found it in a hiking forum, thread buried under warnings and superstitions. No recent reviews, no trail conditions. Just one sentence that stuck with me. The woods remember who comes in and what they owe. It sounded like folklore, but almost like a dare. I printed out the only topo map I could find, packed light, and drove up alone. The entrance was barely there, just a rusted chain across a weedy gravel drive and a hand-painted sign that had faded to smears. Once I stepped over that chain, it felt like the air changed, cooler, denser, not quiet, but muffled, like the woods were listening. I followed the trail, though trail is generous. It was more suggestion than path. Faint indentations in the underbrush, lined with pale, peeling trees. Every few hundred feet, I saw names carved into trunks. Some initials, some full names. Most were old. Some looked fresh. I kept walking. Maybe a mile in, the trail curved into a clearing. That's where I saw it. The tree. Massive. And just wrong. It didn't belong to the woods around it. Its bark was black and cracked, like dried blood. There were hundreds of carvings, names, symbols, dates. The air around it felt wrong. Still, I stepped closer. I told myself I was documenting it. That's what I do, write about places no one visits anymore. But it wasn't curiosity I felt, it was pressure. Something in me said, "Make your mark." I held the knife in my hand, touched the blade to the bark. But I didn't carve. I walked away. Maybe 20 minutes later, I realized I was looping. No matter how far I went, I kept passing the same twisted stump, the same half-eaten mushrooms, the same patch of blue moss. And the air, it had gotten thicker. The light didn't change when clouds moved. It was as if the forest had stopped moving forward in time. That's when the sound started. A groan. Wood. Deep and old. Like the trees were stretching. It was coming from behind me. And it was getting closer. I didn't look. I ran. Branches whipped my face. I didn't care. I should have hit the entrance, or a road, or anything. But the forest just kept turning back into itself. And then I was in the clearing again. The tall tree stood in the center like it had been waiting. Only this time...
My name was on it.
Carved deep, fresh. I never carved my name. Below it, someone had scratched a new mark. 7 vertical lines inside a ring. I stared at it, and the woods, they went silent. That's when I heard my voice, coming from behind the tree. Not an echo, not a hallucination. It was my voice, but off somehow, stretched too thin, then said my name over and over. I backed away, and the trees creaked in unison, not with the wind, but toward me, like they were leaning in. I turned and ran again. No direction, just away. I don't know how I found the road. I collapsed in the gravel and didn't move for hours. When I got back home, I told myself I imagined it. But I checked my hiking pack, and there were shavings of dark bark in the side pocket, still wet with sap.
Jay doesn't hike anymore. Doesn't like to speak his name out loud either. Not since the dream started, where he's in the clearing again, and the tree is calling something back. Some say the toll tree is a warning. Others say it's a contract, but everyone agrees. If you walk into the clearing in the woods, something walks out into our world. The fire's fading now, but the story, it stays with you. If what you heard tonight kept you looking over your shoulder, you're one of us now. Follow the flicker at Midnight Marshmallow Society on Instagram. There you'll find more than stories. You'll find signs, threads, marks of the society, t-shirts for the chosen, clues for the curious, and a fire waiting to be rekindled. Until next time, keep your matches dry and your back to the woods, because the next story might already be watching.